Welcome everyone to the Hurting Humanity channel. Donald Trump posted a cryptic message on his Truth social media account where he said, "Where are you? When are you coming to the center of the universe, Mar-a-Lago? Bill Gates asked to come tonight. We miss you and X. New Year's Eve is going to be amazing. Donald J. Trump." And for those of you that need a translation, Donald Trump meant to supposedly send this message privately to Elon Musk. Now, we know these things don't happen by accident when it comes to these people because for the most part, these people aren't even making the actual tweets themselves. So then you say, well, why do they want that out in the universe, so to speak? Why do they want Maga and the Trump supporters to even hear Donald Trump thinking about having Bill Gates come to Mar-a-Lago? Donald Trump would meet with Bill Gates. He's telling Elon Musk that he misses him, even though every other second we see them together, whether it's at SpaceX launches or UFC fights. These two are as thick as thieves. They pretty much are like a human centipede with one another. So what am I getting at and what are we seeing here? This might actually be the beginning of a heel turn. I talked about this a couple of months ago where if Donald Trump was put in power, that we would begin to see a shift where Donald Trump would begin to turn heel on his MAGA supporters and they wouldn't know how to react to it. So all the warnings that they got about Donald Trump, that they said that we were all crazy and we were all conspiracy theorists. Well, ever since Donald Trump has been put in power, things have gotten awfully quiet. And you could feel that people are starting to get a little bit suspicious about where does Donald Trump align now after being put into office? Because why all of a sudden has the media and the government themselves opened their arms to Donald Trump? Remember every day we'd hear a story about Donald Trump getting indicted, going to prison, the mainstream media saying that he was a threat to democracy. Now all of a sudden the media says nothing. The day after the election, they didn't even dispute the outcome of the fake election. We all figure that at the very least, the way that this script has been written over the years, that the mainstream media, if they said Donald Trump won, would come out and deny the results of the election, potentially leading to a digital ID. And we've heard nothing. Everything went silent the second they announced the selection of Donald Trump as president. And you could start to feel that people are starting to get a little bit weirded out because things have shifted. Suddenly, Trump isn't even the face of the new presidency. We're seeing him in the shadows where Elon Musk is meeting with other leaders of other countries. And Elon Musk is telling all of us how he's going to change government, not Donald Trump. And you can see the people who are in MAGA, these conservatives, starting to get a little bit creeped out by what they're seeing. And when I said a Donald Trump heel turn, I'm obviously referencing professional wrestling because for those of you that don't know, in professional wrestling, the villain is called a heel and the good guy is called what they would call a baby face. So a good guy and a bad guy, a heel and a baby face. Well, politics is a lot like wrestling. In fact, you may have noticed over the last couple of months leading up to the fake election, how many professional wrestlers were getting rolled out on national television to either endorse or not endorse Donald Trump, from Jesse the Body Ventura to obviously Hulk Hogan. And in wrestling, when they say a heel turn, it means when a good guy suddenly turns on the fans, suddenly turns from being a good guy into a bad guy. And specifically when we talk about Hulk Hogan being that he spoke at the Republican National Convention, he was at the forefront of the MAGA movement leading up to the fake election, as ridiculous as that sounds. I mean, Hulk Hogan was on every single major media publication, media outlet. And of course, what's Hulk Hogan known for? Well, he's known for being a professional wrestler, which correlates with politics because it's one and the same. It's as fake as it comes. And Hulk Hogan, of course, is known for being the leader of the New World Order because when Hulk Hogan turned heel in professional wrestling, he led the alliance or the organization known as the New World Order. And being that he's aligned with Trump, and all of a sudden the media has calmed down and they like Donald Trump all of a sudden, and Elon Musk is stepping into the forefront. Now we hear what? We hear Donald Trump talking about bringing arguably the most wicked person on earth, Bill Gates, into Mar-a-Lago to meet with him. You would think now maybe this would be some type of smoke signal where they would say, wait a minute, what? I mean, this would be the equivalent of him having dinner with Hillary Clinton at Mar-a-Lago, would it not? Well, you could sit there and you could say, well, that wasn't really Trump. He didn't tweet it out. Or they tweeted it out because they wanted to see a response. But everybody could feel that things have gotten a little bit weird since Donald Trump was put and selected as the next president of the United States. Things don't feel as one-sided as they used to be. The media isn't going after him day in and day out. And let me start here with meeting with Bill Gates, because this should sound alarms to everybody out there. Bill Gates, when Donald Trump was president, obviously Donald Trump is the one responsible for Operation Warp Speed. And what they told us was that people like Bill Gates weren't happy with the response from Donald Trump during Operation Warp Speed. Well, that was, of course, done by design because they didn't want you to think that Donald Trump was aligned with Bill Gates because they didn't want you to get suspicious of the vax. So obviously, when it got rolled out at first, conservatives got duped into getting it until, of course, they realized what it was. Now, not all conservatives, but a good majority did. And meeting with Bill Gates, maybe I'll just show you this clip here of what he could ask Bill Gates when he meets him, since Bill Gates in his new documentary on Netflix, which I covered in a long video, which is available on the website, where I break it down entirely. Let me show you just a clip here where he could, if he's going to be collaborating with Bill. Well, here's Bill in his documentary talking to his daughter, about the next outbreak, how he's working on the next one. And of course, he laughs it off. And then he goes into his office and all of his employees, because he has a whole massive, obviously the Gates Foundation, he has a whole section of his company devoted to what? Real-time analysis of what people are saying about him online. So in other words, they literally have a massive computer operation with an algorithm that every time, whether it's on YouTube or Twitter, somebody hashtags or writes Bill Gates' name, it's getting sent to them there. And then all the keywords the algorithm is reading are getting set off in the algorithm. So Bill Gates could monitor this because Bill Gates is concerned that too many people are getting suspicious. So isn't it interesting that now that Elon Musk, who was a Democrat his entire life, is suddenly aligned with Trump, and the MAGA supporters were all on board, but then got a little bit of a pushback recently because they feel like there's a little bit of overreach going on with him. They don't like the fact that Trump is in the shadows of Musk because they're little Trump fanboys. And they don't like some of the things where Elon Musk is giving a lot of tech jobs to India versus America. They're starting to see it because we're starting to feel a heel shift. And this is the man right here, Bill Gates, who Donald Trump says, hey, Bill wants to meet with me. He didn't say that he's coming, but he wants to meet with me. And suddenly all these guys who were once anti-Trump, like Zuckerberg, Musk, Gates, and Bezos, all seem to be on board. Welcome to your AI governance.
The pandemic was definitely social media at its worst. And what if we have a pandemic that's 10 times worse and extreme measures
that. They're going to think you're going to cause it then.
That's right. I'm working on it.
Don't you say that. Cut that. Tell people something's going to happen. And then when it happens, they're like, oh.
This is not funny.
Content that will go everywhere. Millions of views if you say it.
And what if we have a pandemic that's 10 times worse? That's right. I'm working on it.
Don't you say that. Cut that.
I think Bill's biggest concern is misinformation about the topics and the issues he works on. Some conspiracy theories that include microchips, farmland, vaccine technology, about puppeteering world affairs. This is a real-time dashboard of all the misinformation about you. These are all the posts and issues. This blue line is really just about climate. A lot of this is about puppeteering the food supply. Glad you're laughing. I found this to be particularly depressing.
So that's not paranoia for you. The guy literally has an algorithm built so that he can monitor every single social media site whenever a word is uttered. It doesn't even have to be hashtag. It's just uttered. That's how they get, the closed captioning in these videos. It's because the algorithm reads it. It could read, obviously, the words that are in. Nobody has to put in text for the algorithm to read. It reads the words. So every single video where his picture is or he's mentioned is going into this algorithm so they can make sure they know what you're talking about. And of course, these are all things that people don't seem to understand, right? Bill Gates backing carbon emission cow burp companies where they're trying to cut methane output, or Bill Gates where he's removing carbon from the air, putting in millions and millions of dollars to have a carbon vacuum suck carbon out of the air. You heard them mentioning passing diseases through GMOs because Bill Gates has his hand in that. Or Bill Gates with the agriculture, owning all of this land and farming. Or even Bill Gates with his gigantic hydrogen-powered super yacht that he's sending out to sea, where he's clearly using the super yacht as an antenna to help steer and manipulate storms, or the fact that Bill Gates himself is obviously responsible for the inoculation of so many children around the world. And part of this heel shift that we're seeing with Trump is obviously this feel of Elon Musk being at the forefront, but you're quietly hearing these other stories which are making people raise their eyebrows, like U.S. universities urging international students to return early amid fears of Trump's travel ban, almost like the feeling of more lockdown types of things coming, where, remember the expression about the border in America, the wall, where most people in 2016, like myself, we were talking about that wall wasn't being built to keep people out. It was being built to keep people in, to keep us in. Mix that up with travel bans and travel restrictions and more lockdowns, because, again, all the lockdowns, conveniently, all these people forget they were under Donald Trump's watch. They forget about Operation Warp Speed. They forget about how false flags and psyops work. And when they see fake assassination attempts, because they don't want to believe it, they refuse to actually dissect the footage of the assassination attempt and say, that's not possible. There is no way that they could have missed him with the technology they have now with these DARPA bullets. If the deep state wanted him gone, they wouldn't have missed, and they wouldn't have done it on national TV. They would have done it, or could have done it, in a tunnel like they did to Diana. Or at the time when that happened, I said, if they want to do it, they could just do it on a golf course, because he's got a tee time so somebody can know where he is. And then what did they do a couple weeks later? Well, we had a false flag psyop on a golf course where they pretended that they were trying to take his life. And all this did was garner support for Trump. So these people have this Trump obsession because the government made life so miserable for everyone over the last 4 years. And specifically, the misery came from the media. Because every day that normal people heard these stories about, or saw these stories of, the White House hosting transgenders, or they want to come for your kids, or they're allowing this in libraries, or your tax money is going to Ukraine, the more they put those out there, they knew how people would respond. They'd be angry and upset. So they made things so bad, and then they propped up Trump so high that these people literally will refuse to believe right in front of their faces when Trump turns heel on them. Trump could come out tomorrow and say, we're implementing AI governance, and they won't blink. And people like me will say, do you know that AI governance is literally the blueprint for the New World Order? It's literally what is discussed at the World Economic Forum. In fact, the World Economic Forum calls themselves the AI governance, right? So when we start seeing it implemented, will they turn a blind eye? Well, it's very clear that they will, because we see that with Jeffrey and his island and the pictures of them being connected to each other, and all the same people who believe in that psyop conveniently just say, oh, well, he didn't know he was doing that, because they don't want to believe the truth. And now if we continue to see a heel turn like this, where Donald Trump is meeting with Bill Gates, like I said, he just met with Zuckerberg and Bezos. These are two of the most despised people, specifically Zuckerberg, over the last decade or so. Left and right, Democrats and Republicans, civilians hate Mark Zuckerberg, but specifically more so Republicans. And he's meeting with Donald Trump all of a sudden, a guy who was banning free speech on social media, right? It's amazing how convenient it is for all these people to forget what just happened 8 years ago, because all the censorship began with Donald. All of it. I was right at the forefront in 2016, right at the forefront with all of us. We all got wiped off. That's the first time they actually did a run where they wiped everyone off the internet. It was right after that event occurred at that pizza place. And then from that point on, as people were trying to get back into the space, we obviously had the outbreak towards the end of Trump's campaign, and they wiped everybody out again. Right? Well, do you think it was Trump who wiped everyone out, or do you think it was the deep state? Because who was the one who rolled out Operation Warp Speed? So these people are going to believe whatever they want to believe. Trump could meet with Bill Gates, and they'll turn a blind eye. Just like they turned a blind eye when we heard about draining the swamp in 2016. We all heard the psyop back then. I was yelling from the rooftops, he's not going to drain a swamp. He's not going to go in and arrest all these people from the pizza ring. He's not going to do any of that. And what happened? Nothing happened. Nothing occurred. And all people did was just conveniently forget about it because they didn't want to turn on him, because they have this motto where they say, well, it could be a lot worse. Well, it's the lesser of two evils. Well, it's better him than her, than Hillary, right? And now it's, oh, well, I'd rather have Trump than Joe Biden, the Joe Biden bot falling downstairs, or I should say upstairs, because it can't even walk or communicate. And then you slowly see the integration of the New World Order. And guess what? Your mind is going to say, no, 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 that's not what this is. That's not what this is. That's not what AI governance is. Getting rid of the Department of Education, getting rid of the IRS. No, no, no. This is all great, good things. And then you realize, wait a minute, it's all trap. It's all to tickle your ears and make you say, oh, this is great. I hate the IRS. Well, you're still going to be paying your taxes. It's just going to be electronically deducted out of your bank account. You're not going to have to file the paperwork. Whoop did he do? Guess what? You're not going to have any, give backs to you either. And the other things that the Department of Education, it's done by design. They want educational AI governance. Okay? It's done by design. They make you want to get the Department of Education changed because over the last 4 years, they've been talking about how schools are putting in curriculum that says white people are racist and how the curriculum is saying that books like Two Dads, right? Everyone's going, I don't want my kids to see, I don't want it. We need an education overhaul. And guess what? It's AI overhaul. That's the name of the game here. That's what must roll is. You'll see Bates creep into this. And Donald Trump even suggesting meeting with Bill Gates should get these people to start waking up. Seeing how all these people that have been hand selected to this cabinet are talking about other countries like India. What happened to America first? You know that those people who are MAGA are feeling it. It's just a matter of whether or not they'll accept it or not, because they're programmed so deep into the matrix with the left-right paradigm that it's them who are refusing to get out. Remember that quote from the Matrix? That many of them are so inured, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it. Well, it's the same thing. These people are so hopelessly dependent on the party, on the Republican Party, and on Donald Trump because psychologically they deliberately made life so miserable for people the last 4 years that they're going to fight in their own minds at least to protect and defend Donald Trump to their last breath, even when he's aligned with people like Bill Gates. Watch, because the heel turn is coming. We're already seeing it. We're already seeing him do some things. And you're going, wait a minute, what? Wait a minute, they're talking about jobs in other countries. Wait a minute. Matt Gaetz, and then they give you these stories that they want out there about Matt Gaetz and kids. They're just literally trying to tell you out in the open that these people aren't who you think, that this is part of the plan, that Trump was picked. You didn't elect him. We picked him. And now we're going to slowly transition the middle finger right in your face and say, look, he's one of us. And none of these people are still going to believe it while it's actually happening. So Trump tweets out, he says, Mar-a-Lago is apparently the center of the universe, and Gates asked to come to Mar-a-Lago. Then he says, we miss you and X. Is he referring to X? I don't really know how you can miss X, the platform, or is he referring to SpaceX, or is he just referring to X and the Antichrist, right? Little cryptic indeed. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.